tonight as well. Make your way to the front, church. Come on.
Promise That's why I trust in you, Lord.
Praise God, praise God. Hey, does anyone like that song in here? Y'all like that song? Thank you. I believe that is one of our own right here, CYA worship team wrote that song. Am I correct in saying that? Believe that? Yeah, y'all wrote that song, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure I was giving credit where it's due. Okay, yeah, I love that song. Hey guys, I'm super excited about tonight. We're gonna do things a little differently tonight though. Couple things. One, I wanna pack it in tonight. Okay, we're talking about a topic that I'm really excited about. We've been waiting for a little while. So I don't want y'all sitting way in the back seats in the front rows being empty, all that stuff. Let's pack it in tight. I also wanna meet some new people. Okay, I don't want us just hanging out with just the people that we've gotten comfortable with. So right now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take 2 minutes. During this 2 minutes, meet someone that you don't know, high five someone, ask them how their day was, ask them how school's going, grab your stuff, make your way up front, and we're gonna pack it in tight tonight, and then we're gonna get started in just a couple minutes. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Yes, all five. All five. Guys, we got 2 more seats right there. 2 more seats to fill, and then the entire first row is full. Come on. Who's going to be brave? I know you do. I love it. You always sit up here. Hey, Mac, I love it. Good job. Come on, 1 more seat. Come on, I'm going to challenge someone. Come up here and sit and make friends with Mac. Mac's awesome. Mac's like one of the friendliest people I know. So if you're going to sit next to someone, she's not a bad one to sit next to. Hey, tonight to start off with, I want you guys to think about something. Okay, I don't have time to go around and hear all of your answers, but I want you to think about something. If you had 1 week to live, 1 week, what are some of the things that you would want to do? 1 week, 7 days. You can do anything you want. What would you want to do? Okay? I want you to think about that. And if you're watching online, I want you to think about it as well. because I asked some of my leaders and got some very, very interesting responses. Just show of hands if you fit in this category. I had a couple leaders, myself included, who would want to go cage diving with a shark. Anyone would want to go cage diving with a shark? A couple people? For sure. Not after 47 meters down. I love it. Do it. I mean, if you're going to go out, might as well. Sharks are awesome. Okay, what about this one? I feel like this one, who would say no to this one? Courtside at a Lakers game. Yeah? Even if you're not a Lakers fan, like that's an experience you got to do. This one, paragliding over Hawaii. Anyone? This is romantic. This one's still adventurous, but I feel like a little less, right? So like for some of you guys who are too scared to do stuff, like this one might be a little bit better, right? I'm comfortable with that. I think I might be able to convince Joe to do that one with me. This one was interesting. Skydive into the Rose Bowl during the national anthem. How awesome would that be? Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be awesome. That's America right there. That's like, I feel like, I guess you got to have 1 week to live during the Rose Bowl, and you got to be a professional skydiver, and you've got to convince them to do that. But that'd be a cool one. Was that yours? I think it was. This one was interesting. Man versus food road trip across America, right? So you get in the car, you road trip across America, and you do all the man versus food challenges. Have y'all seen that show? You know Man versus Food? If you haven't, it's literally a show. This dude would literally just go to restaurants and do the food challenges that they had, right? You've seen the restaurants that have like, eat a 40-pound steak in 2 minutes. It's like, what? But he would do them. And he would go, and one of our leaders wanted to do that. This one wins for the most random. Eat an avocado on top of Mount Everest. That was one of our leaders. I think that was Trevor, if he's here. I don't know why an avocado. I don't know if it was like, he literally said, he was like, I want to be the first person to be on top of the world and eat an avocado. It was weird, but anyway, I think that's a very interesting question. I'm curious if you guys have some of those things as well, but I think that question says a lot about people. Right? I think when you ask that question and people give you your answer, it says a lot about people, not in a bad way, but just like I think you kind of get a little peek into some of the things that they're interested in and they care about, right? Like for instance, my wife, Jordan, she was like, I want to go to the Maldives with you and Swift the cat, which I was like, really? Okay, whatever. And I want to write a book. Like that was her perfect last 7 days for me. I was like, I want to go cage diving, skydiving, mountain climbing. I was like, whatever it is, I want to do it. I think it just says a little bit about you. It's a pretty interesting question, right? But believe it or not, there's actually a moment in the Bible that Jesus answers that question for himself, right? There's a moment in the Bible that we're going to look at today where Jesus is living his last days, his last moments, and he knows it, and he's going to show us exactly what he chose to do in those last few moments. And we're going to look at that story, and keep in mind, this is Jesus. He can do anything. Like we can pretend, like we can imagine that we could do anything. He can literally do anything. We've already seen him walk on water, okay? We've seen him bring people back from the dead, heal people, perform miracles. He can do literally anything that he wants to. So what does Jesus do? He gets his closest friends, okay, like probably a lot of us would, and he goes and he does something a little confusing, a little weird, a little random. Look at this, John 13, verse 1 and then 4 through 5. It says, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Then it says this, he rose from supper, he laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, he tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin, and he began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Jesus knows that he's about to die. He knows that this is really his last full day on earth. He knows that tomorrow, then his last couple of hours, last couple of moments on earth, he knows that he's about to die. He can do anything he wants. And this is what he does. Really? Like, Jesus, no, like, I'm thinking if I'm Jesus, I can think of some pretty cool things to do. I'm thinking I'm going finding like a tsunami somewhere and surfing it with no surfboard, right? I'm barefoot. I'm like, what's up? How you doing? I'm thinking skydiving with no parachute. I'm thinking like 4-course meals served up by the angels. I'm thinking, you can probably think of a lot of things that Jesus could do right here. He can do anything that he wants to. And he's given his boys a pedicure. Like, a little strange. Why are you spending your last moments on earth scrubbing toes of these nasty, filthy dudes who've been walking for miles and miles and miles in sandals? Why the heck does Jesus do this? He does this because he knows that these are some of, if not the most valuable moments of his entire life. Okay, you think of the end, You think of wrapping something up, and you are leaving a legacy, and you want people to remember one thing. If you're like, hey, last thing before I leave, last thing, hear this. Jesus knows that this is that moment. Like, last thing, hear this. Like, every single time that I give a message, everything that I say, I believe is important, but I always end with what? If you've been in my message. What do I end with? Always. Yeah, I always end with an invitation prayer. Why? Because that's the most important thing. Because it's about knowing God. Jesus is leaving this world, and he's like, hey, these are the most valuable moments, right? I want to leave you with something extremely important. Last thing, if you remember anything, remember this. Here's what I want you to remember. And what does he talk about? He talks about servanthood. He shows us that one of the most powerful, important things that we can do here on this earth is serve people. He can do anything he wants. Last day on earth, and he gets down on his knees and he starts washing the feet of the people around him. Why? To show us that one of the most powerful things that we can do is serve the people around us. And he wants us to know that that's a calling that he has given us. Look, just a few verses later, John 13, 12 through 15. When he had washed their feet and he had put on his outer garments and he had resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I have done to you? So he's done washing the feet. He gets back up. He's like, do you get why I did that? I know that was weird. I know it was random, but do you understand what I did? Like, why I just did that? Do you understand what's going on? He said, you call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, for I am Lord, I am teacher, I am God, I am the Messiah. If I then, your Lord and your teacher, have washed your feet, you also are to wash one another's feet, for I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done. Jesus gives one last example, one last illustration, one last thing right here. And what does he exemplify? He could have exemplified anything. First of all, he could have done anything, and he chose to serve people. But not only that, he could have, like, if he gets one last intentional message, sure, next, couple hours, he's going to exemplify some stuff by the way that he acts. But this is his last, planned message. He's like, hey, this is an example. Listen to this, watch this, do this. And what is it? He's like, it could have been about how to preach, or how to cast out demons, or how to perform miracles, or how to speak in tongues. He could have given us anything, and we would have treated it like gold. And what does he choose to exemplify in his last moments as his last planned message? What does he choose? He chooses to show us that we are called to serve people, and that he came to serve people. And that it's one of the most important and most valuable things that we can do. Jesus wanted us to understand that, like him, the reason that we're here is to serve people. He came and he was like, hey, not only are you here to serve, that's why I was here too. I want you to remember that. I love that. It's a last little note. Like, hey, I don't want you telling stories about how I came as a ruler and all this stuff. I want you to remember that I came to serve you, and that's why you're here, to serve others. Look at Matthew 20, 26 through 28. This is Jesus speaking again. He says, whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be your slave. Even as the Son of Man, that's Jesus, even as Jesus came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Before I even move on, I know probably a couple of you guys are thinking about this right here. Jesus right there is not condoning slavery, okay? Slavery is in the Bible, and there's a lot of topics about that. It does not condone slavery. That word for slave right there, it doesn't mean the same thing that it means to us, okay? So when we think of slavery, we think of whips and chains and hate and awful. That's awful. The real word right here is something, it's bondservant. Really, it means servant. It means not what we count as slavery, but really it means to serve, to help. And Jesus says right here, that is why we're here on earth. That's why I'm here on earth. I came not to be served, but to serve. Jesus reminds them, I am king. I am Messiah. I am God. I am the creator. And yet I did not come for you to serve me. He even mentions right here his favorite title for himself, the Son of Man. He says, even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. When I was growing up and reading the Bible, and anytime I read Son of Man about Jesus, I was so confused as what that, I didn't understand that, right? Because what do we know of Jesus? Jesus is the Son of God. He's God. He's the Son of God. And so anytime that Jesus referred to himself as the Son of Man, I was super confused by it. But that's actually his favorite title for himself while he was alive. What that means is this. That's Jesus' way of saying that he came into our humanity. He came as a human, not as a God. Because we know that Jesus is God. He is the Son of God, and he is God himself. He's the creator. And he could have come not as a son of man, not as a human, but as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He could have come as a God, and what would have happened? We would have worshiped him, and we would have served him, and we would have bowed down to him, and we definitely would not have crucified him on a cross. But why did he choose to come as a human, as a son of man? Why? Because he did not come to be served, but to serve. He showed us that I chose to humble myself, to deny my throne, and come as a human so that I could serve you. Why? Because I'm not here for me. Jesus is like, I'm not here for me. I'm not here to be served. I'm not here to be praised. I'm not here to be lifted up. I'm here to lift you up. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to save you. And I'm here to praise the King who sent me. And that's what Jesus shows us. And he says, if you want to be great on this world, that's what you do. Right? Whoever would be great among you must be your servant. Whoever wants to be first among you must be your bondservant. You want to be great? You want to live a life that's meaningful, that's in depth? You want to live a life that's like Jesus? Serve people. That's why he came. That's why we're here. We're not here for me. We're here to serve. And that's what Jesus is showing us. And it's so powerful. And I want us to grasp that tonight. And I also want to understand this, is not only did in this moment Jesus choose to serve, he did it in a really, really cool and intentional way that made it special. He did a couple things right here in this last moment that showed us how to serve in a meaningful way. Like, not only did he go and serve people, he did it in a really meaningful way. I want to break down some of the things that he did. First thing that he did it in private, right? He did it in private. Look, if you look at this story and what's going on, who's Jesus with? Is he with this entire village? Is he with all these Pharisees and the governors and the rulers and the kings? And no, he got his 13 closest friends, 12, because one of them leaves and sells them to be killed. But he brings his closest guys in. And in private, in secret, when no one else is watching, when no one else is looking, he gets down and he starts to wash their feet. He has absolutely nothing to gain right here. He doesn't, like, let's be honest. He could have gone and done this for the Pharisees and tried to convince them not to kill him. Because the next day the Pharisees are going to turn him over to be crucified. If I'm Jesus, I'm probably thinking like, okay, if I'm going to have to wash someone's feet tonight and serve and kind of humble myself, I'm probably going to do it to the people that are going to try to kill me so that I can maybe earn some respect. But it's not about that to Jesus. Jesus is like, I'm not here to gain recognition. I'm not here to build myself up. I'm here to serve people. So I'm going to do it to people even when there's nothing in it for me. He could have done it to the non-believers and like, okay, I got to convince, if I'm going to die tomorrow, I got to try to convince some people that I'm worth following and believing. So I'm going to go, no, he goes, I'm going to go to the people who know me, who already believe in me, who already trust in me. Why? Because it's not about me. I'm not trying to build up rapport. I'm not trying to gain. I'm just trying to serve. Does that mean that we shouldn't serve the Pharisees? No, because he's already served the Pharisees multiple times. Does that mean we shouldn't serve the non-believers? No, we definitely should. Does that mean that we have to keep it a secret every time that we help people and serve people? Absolutely not. He's shown us a principle, and this is it. This is the principle. This is the idea that Jesus has shown us, is that serving people is not about gaining recognition. It's not about what's in it for me. It's not about how it benefits me. Serving is about giving, not getting. That's what I want us to understand. That's what Jesus shows us right here. Serving is about giving, not getting. I'm not helping you to get something back. I'm not trying to prove to you that I love you. I'm not trying to get brownie points. I'm just trying to serve. I'm trying to give. You know what? If Jesus gets something back, that's fine, but that's not his motivation. He does it in private to show us that serving is about giving, not getting. How many times do we go and try to serve people? Ooh, hot mic. How many times do we go to try to serve people and ask ourselves, what's in it for me? Or we get a chance to help someone out and we start to kind of weigh the options. Is it convenient? Does it help me? Who's watching? Who's going to see it? Or maybe we won't do that intentionally, but like, if you see an opportunity to serve, you normally wouldn't go out of your way to do it, but because you know that girl that you like is watching, you're like, oh, watch this, I'm going to go help that kid with his homework, and she's going to think I'm all sweet and like all this stuff. And or oh, you know what? I'm going to go pick up the trash while my teacher's watching. The teacher that doesn't like me and thinks I'm a bad kid, I'm going to go do that so that they think I'm a good kid and they'll stop, failing me. So like we start kind of thinking like I'm only going to serve people when it's beneficial to me. Jesus shows us serving is about giving, not getting. It's not about gaining recognition. It's not about anything. The next thing that he shows us is this. He shows us that in order to serve genuinely, you got to serve joyfully. Jesus gets into this moment
And he doesn't whine at all. He doesn't complain at all. He had all the opportunity to. I don't know if you understand how nasty of a job this was. You think they did not have shoes. They had sandals. They walked miles and miles and miles every single day. They're fishermen, and they're in the desert, and they're sweating, and they're blistered, and they're gross. They don't have running water and showers, and they don't have no Dove soap, or they don't. There's none of that stuff. And Jesus is on his hands and he's scrubbing the feet and washing them, and he doesn't complain once. He's excited. He wants to. There's even a moment where Peter, it gets to Peter, his boy Peter, and he gets there and Peter's like, Jesus, you're going to wash my feet? He's like, yeah, I'm going to wash your feet. And Peter starts to try to be like, no, don't wash my feet. I should be washing your feet, which honestly is true. Like Jesus should not have been washing their feet. But Peter's like, please, let me wash your feet. You don't need to wash my feet. And Jesus, what does Jesus do? Does he look at that and be like, all right, you know what? Good point. I'm out. I've already washed multiple feet, so I'm done now. No, he convinces Peter, I want to wash your feet. In fact, he even goes so far that Peter is even like, all right, fine, wash my feet, wash my legs, wash my shoulders, my head, wash my whole body. If that's what you want, God, I want it. Jesus is like, there's nothing that's going to stop me from serving you. Why? Because I'm serving joyfully. I'm excited about this. How often do we go into a moment where we're meant to help someone and benefit someone, and we complain, or we... when was the last time your mom asked you to clean your room? You weren't like, are you kidding me right now? I'm going to sleep in the same bed tonight. Like how many times have we served something and we whined about it or we complained about it? Look at what 1 Peter 4:9-10 says. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. It's not even without whining, complaining, without grumbling, without, oh, are you kidding me right now? Get excited about it. Serving genuinely is about serving joyfully, and Jesus showed us that. I wonder how many times you've helped someone out, but because of your sorry attitude, you made that person feel like a burden. One time I was in Moldova. Anyone ever been to Moldova or heard of Moldova? A couple people, okay? It's a country out in Eastern Europe. And I was on a mission trip, and it was actually a really, really cool trip. We were doing some really cool work, and this one day, we were in a house, if you can call it a house. It was more like a hut, and even that's generous. It was really kind of sad, and we had gone and we'd given food to kind of this whole neighborhood and kind of helped them and given them Bibles and talked to them about this or whatever. But now we're hanging out in this one house, and this house is a mom and her son and her mom. So a grandma, a mom, and a son. And I actually had a picture to show, but I can't because the boy actually didn't have clothes. He had just a shirt. He didn't have shoes. He didn't have underwear. Didn't have pants or anything like that, so I actually couldn't show the picture. But they all live in this one little house, and it's one little room. Couldn't be any bigger than this area that I'm speaking in. And there was one bed, and they all three slept in it. And then right over next to it, there's a little kind of doorway with no door, and in it was kind of this kitchen. And in this kitchen, there was like a fire pit. It was their stove, but it was literally like a legit like coals and fire and like this metal thing over it where they would cook their food. And in this kitchen, they had 3 buckets. One bucket was up here. This was their clean water. Okay, they had a well in the neighborhood, which was actually a luxury for them. They had a well up here, and that was where they kept their clean food. And then right here, they had 2 buckets. This first bucket was their dirty water. So anytime that they would eat or anytime they had to do anything where they had to clean stuff, they would take this water and they would clean it over the dirty bucket, pouring the clean water into the dirty water and cleaning and resting it. So this was the dirty water, okay? Next to that bucket was their toilet. That was the bucket in their kitchen. And in it, I kid you not, while we were sitting in there, is probably 7-8 inches high of pee and poop from the 3 people that lived in that house. And that was their house. That's where they lived in. And the reason they did that is because, first of all, they live in a neighborhood, okay? And anytime that they would need to dump food or anything like that, they didn't have any drains or sewage or anything like that. So anytime they had to dump food or dirty water, if they just threw it all out, it was going to attract rodents and stuff like that because there was bits of food and stuff like that. So they couldn't do that. So they had to empty their dirty water into this bucket. And for the sewage, they couldn't just go to the bathroom outside. One, there's no privacy, but also it would create this unsanitary living area where they would live. And anytime that it would rain, it would flood and bring poop and pee into their houses, and it was just nasty, so they couldn't do it. So instead, all of these houses would have these buckets, and they would go to the bathroom in one, they'd use the dirty water in another, and at the end of each day or whenever they got full, they'd pick it up, and this mom would walk it down the hill about a half a mile to this kind of designated dumping area where the water, if it ever rained, would wash it away from the town. They'd go down, they'd dump it up, they'd come back, put the buckets back in the kitchen. It's crazy. So this day we get there, and it was kind of brutal work, but it was so cool. We spend our day digging this ditch down this half-mile hill. Not a big ditch, but just enough to lay this kind of plastic, like PVC pipe thing, that at the top would open up, and we'd bury it, and we'd anchor it, all this stuff. And so what they would do is all these houses, it wasn't much, but at least instead of, when the buckets got full or when they would use it, instead of having to let it sit there, they'd be able to go out and just kind of dump it in the PVC pipe and let the dirty water run it down and then go put it back. So at least the poop wouldn't sit for 8 hours a day in their kitchen. At least the dirty water wouldn't get mixed with the clean water. At least there wouldn't be this kid running around in the house naked, playing and eating and cooking around this toilet bowl and this bucket of unclean water, all this stuff. At least they could go out and kind of do it. It wasn't much, but it was worth it. And as we're there doing this work, I'm not going to lie, it was a tough day of work. It was really, really hot. Most of the people did not speak our language. We're thirsty. We're hungry. I remember our knees were killing us because we're on our knees digging this ditch with these little shovels. We have poop and pee all over our hands. It was gross. There's this little naked dude running around. We're like, this is weird. It was a tough day. It was a tough day. But I remember this guy who was with me on the trip, he started complaining pretty early on, and he did not stop complaining the whole day. Kept complaining about how his knees hurt, about how he was tired, about how he was hungry, about how he was sweating and he wanted to wipe his face, but he couldn't because there's literally poop on his hands. And he kept complaining all day and all day and all day. And there was this one moment where he's complaining in front of this mother, who, by the way, is one of, if not the only person who speaks English in the entire neighborhood. And she's listening to him complain while he's digging this ditch and helping them out. And I remember thinking, I didn't know what she was thinking. She didn't say anything to us or anything, but I remember thinking, I wonder if she feels blessed by us, or I wonder if she feels like she's a burden to us. I wonder if she feels bad for making us come here. She doesn't know that we signed up for this. She just thinks we're here. And probably she would be grateful, but she hears this dude complaining about his knees and about his sweat and about all this stuff, and he's whining about it. I wonder if she's like, oh, I feel bad that they're here helping me out. I'm embarrassed that my son doesn't have any clothes on. I'm embarrassed that I cook next to a bucket of my poop. I wonder how much of a burden she felt like because of his sorry attitude. And you know what? The truth is, he was complaining about some legit stuff. It was hot. My knees hurt too. I had poop on my hands, and it was nasty. It was under my fingernails, and one of those 4-day showers in a row, and you still can't get it out, and it was brutal. But I remember thinking, I remember in that moment, him complaining and thinking about that mom who felt like a burden when she should have felt blessed, and she should have felt thankful, and she should have honestly been grateful that now she has what little bit of sewage that she's never had, that she can get rid of all that stuff. I remember thinking, why this attitude that she has, or that this dude has, is preventing her from feeling blessed, is actually making her feel bad. All this work that we're doing might not even be worth it because of his sorry attitude. But I remember thinking, if we were here and we were happy to do this, and we were excited to do this, that woman would have been so grateful. I've been on trips like that, where you're doing brutal work. You're tearing down houses and rebuilding them and working in the heat and getting blisters and stubbing toes, and people just having a blast. And I remember the people that we help, they don't feel bad about it. They're so thankful, and they're so excited. And why? Because a joyful attitude changes everything. It's not just about serving someone. It's about serving someone joyfully. When you go out and you help someone and you have a negative attitude, you're not helping anyone. You're making them feel like a burden. Whereas if you go out and you do work and you're joyful about it, that person feels blessed. Jesus shows us right here that in order to serve genuinely, you got to serve joyfully. He's giddy. He's excited. He claims, I'm not here to be served, but to serve. This is why I'm here. Guys, I would love it if we went out and started getting excited about helping others and serving others. Just imagine for a second how good your life would be. This is not about us. We're not here for me. But for a second, let's entertain that thought. Let's entertain the thought of what's in it for me. What if you went out and the things that you pity right now, the things that you hate doing your chores, and you hate being there for other people, and you hate doing anything that doesn't benefit you, what if you started getting excited about it? Imagine how much that would change the way that you look at your life every single day. There's nothing that you can do that can get you down. Why? Because you realize I'm not here for me. I'm here to serve others. And I'm excited to do it. And I remember that serving is not about getting, it's about giving. And I remember that serving genuinely is about serving joyfully, and he shows us to get excited about it. And by the way, when you do that, you're not just serving people. You're serving God. Jesus talks about this in Matthew 25. Jesus right here, he's talking about the end times. He says one day we're going to face God and he's going to judge the earth. He's going to split people up. And he's going to say this to us as believers. He's going to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. We see that in Scripture. We see that when we get to heaven and we have lived a life for him, he's going to say good job to us. But then he's going to say this to us. He's going to say this. I was hungry and you gave me food. This is God speaking in the end times. This is going to happen. I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. And then the righteous are going to say, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you? When did we see you thirsty and give you a drink? When did we see you as a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? God, what are you talking about? I didn't see any of that stuff. What are you saying that I did all this stuff for you? I didn't do any of that stuff for you. And this is what God says. He says, truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you also did it to me. In other words, God in the end times, he's going to look at us and he's going to remember all the times that we have genuinely served other people. And he's going to say, you weren't just serving them, you were serving me. When you were on your knees digging a trench for someone in Moldova, you weren't just doing it for them, you were doing it for me. That blessed me. When you were doing your chores for your parents and you weren't complaining about it, you were doing joyfully and you were giving, not getting, you weren't just serving your parents, you were serving me. When you were helping people out when no one was looking, guess who was looking? I was looking. You weren't just serving that person, you were serving me. God reminds us that when we serve others, it's not about us. It's about giving, not getting. Serving genuinely is about serving joyfully. And serving others is also serving God. I know some people in here who feel like you can't live a life that's glorifying to God. I've talked to some of you guys. You feel like I'm just a high school student. I've messed up so many times. I'm constantly stumbling in sin. I've got scars on my wrists. I've got addictions that I don't even want to tell you about. I've got these issues going on inside my brain. I can't do anything. God, there's no way that God is proud of me. God says right here, you want to know what I'm proud of? I'm proud when you help other people, no matter what condition you're in, because when you serve the people around you, you're really serving me. That makes God happy. You want to make God happy? Watch what happens when you start to serve the people around you. And you can do that every single day, because serving is about giving, not getting, and serving genuinely is about serving joyfully, and you guys can do that. And the last thing that I want us to see today that Jesus shows us is this. If you want to truly set an example, you do it by serving people. Jesus right here, he wants to set an example in his last moments, and how does he do it? Not by standing up and giving this super profound message like, oh my gosh, that blew my mind. I never thought of that before. He doesn't go up and like I'm going to tell you my deepest, darkest thoughts, and he doesn't perform this massive miracle. No, what does he do? He gets down on his knees, he gets some water, and he starts to scrub some feet. Why? Because he knows that really, truly, genuinely the way to make a difference, the way to set an example for the people around you is to serve them. Forget the words that you have to say. You don't have to convince people. Serve them. I'll help you with the words later. I'll help you with how to defend your faith. But God says the first thing you got to do if you want to defend your faith, if you want to show the world that there's something different about you, if you want to set an example, you do it by serving others. Look what he says, John 13, 34 through 35. It's just a few verses later, after he's washed their feet. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By loving people the way that I've loved you, by this, people will know that you are my disciples if you have loved one another. You want to show the world that there's something different about you? It's how you treat them. It's how you serve them. It's how you love them. You get attacked for being a Christian at your school. You think, this isn't worth it. How do I show them that it's worth being a Christian? How do I convince them that it's worth? Jesus says, you want to set an example? You want to make a difference? Serve them. By the way, that's how you change the world. I know a lot of you in here, when I've told you that I believe that you're the most influential people in the world, you have a hard time believing me because you're just a high school kid. I've heard that lie before. I'm just a high school kid. Even if I make a difference in my close friend group, I'm in a school of 3,000, 4,000. I don't even know how big your schools are anymore. I went to school of 400, so it's crazy to think that y'all have that. But I'm in a school, this massive school. Even if I make a small difference in my family and my friend group, that's not actually even making a dent. But God says otherwise. God says that if you truly want to make a difference in the world and set an example for the people around you, you do it by serving others. Matthew 5:16, in the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who's in heaven. I love that right there. And that phrase of let your light shine, that's kind of a famous common phrase that, if I'm being honest, when I was a kid and I heard that, I don't know if I necessarily bought into the truth of that phrase. I love the phrase. My mom actually spoke it over me every single day when I left the house. I love it. Joe and I always talk about one day when we have kids, some of the things that we want to do. And one of the things that my mama always did for me is every single time that I left, first of all, she prayed over me. She said, plead the blood of Jesus over you. Angels surround you, protect you, and watch over you. Mom, if you're watching this, you know it. So do my sisters. They did it. But then she'd say this. Last thing she would always say before we left the door, may you be a light unto others. That was all she said. May you be a light unto others. And I actually loved that. A lot of people would be like, Mom, stop. But I actually loved it. I thought it was really cool. But to an extent, I don't know how much I believed it. Because I was like, I do my best to forgive and to love and to serve. And I'd like to believe that I was actually pretty good at that when I was in high school. Yeah, I definitely had some stumbling blocks. And yeah, there was definitely a lot of moments of pride and a lot of idiotic moments of selfishness, whatever. But to an extent, I really feel like I did a decent job. And I never really saw my school change or, all these people come to Christ. I never really saw it. So I was like, what does this really mean? Well, as I got older, I realized that it's actually not just about completely starting this massive revival, but it's actually about giving people a glimpse of hope when they have never seen anything like it. It's not about changing their minds and changing their hearts and convincing them to come to Christ. It's actually about setting an example and showing them there is hope in a dark, dark world. Let me tell you something. You guys live in a dark world. There is chaos in this world right now. Our country is divided on so many different things. You got politics and you got coronavirus and right now this abortion law getting fought and you got all this division going on in our country and in our world, in Afghanistan and like crazy stuff going on. And you feel like, how can I make a difference? Guys, there's a dark world that you're living in. But Jesus says that we are a light and that we need to let our light shine. And let me tell you something about light. The darker the place is, the farther the light shines. I want you to hear that. Doesn't matter how big your light is. Doesn't matter how, if you have a platform and a stage and millions of followers. It matters if you have a light living inside of you, if you're letting it shine. And let me tell you something, you let it shine when you serve others. It doesn't matter how big that light is. The darker the room is, the farther the light shines. And the light that you have is shining bright if you'll let it shine bright because you live in a dark world. I want to actually show you this. Marlon, is there any way that we can lower the lights tonight and make this place real dark? If we can. I don't know how dark this room will get. Let's see. Ooh, that's nice. Can we turn off the screen? Is that possible? I want a real dark. Oh, there it is. It's real dark. No phones, nothing. Anyone see that right there? Can anyone not see that? Raise your hand if you can't see it. Just kidding, I can't see you. Tell me something. Is this massive bonfire that's piling 20 feet high? No. It's nothing more than a simple little candle lighter. And yet, because this room is so dark, everyone can see it. And let me tell you something. By letting your light shine, no, you might not be able to illuminate this entire room because we live in a dark world, and that's biblical. But you're giving people who are living in the dark a glimpse of hope that they've never seen before. You're showing them that in this dark, dark, dark world, there is light. And it's available to me. And even though everything around me is dark and invisible, I know that I can have a light that I can look to by serving people around me. You have a light and you can turn it off. But when you serve people, you're letting that light shine. And to them, it might not convince them to become a Christian right away. But let me tell you something. It'll show them the light. It'll set an example that there is light in the darkness, that there is something different about you. That there is a love that lives inside of you, a servanthood that lives inside of you. There is something about you that is different. And in a world that is dark and blind, I want that light. And let me tell you something, you guys have it, and I challenge you tonight to let it shine, and Jesus shows us how. It's by serving others. Marlon, you can turn on the lights. That's the power that you guys have. Because let me tell you something, if you have Jesus living inside of you, you have the light living inside of you. But a lot of you have never let it shine because you've never bothered to serve the people around you. You've never done it joyfully. You've never done it without asking, what's in it for me? You never thought twice about the difference that it can make. You never thought twice about the fact that it's not only serving people, it's about serving God. But when you let your light shine, it's a glimpse of hope in a dark, dark world. When you go out into your homes, when you go out into your friend groups, when you go to your schools, when you go anywhere that you go, it's a dark world. But that only means that your light shines farther. And all you have to do is start serving others the way that Jesus served us, because he came not to be served, but to serve. I'm not here for me. I'm here to serve. I'm here at school. I'm not here for me. I'm here to serve. I'm here in my family. I'm not here for me. I'm here to serve. I'm here at my church. I'm not here for me. I'm here to serve. Yeah, I'm going to learn. Yeah, I'm going to grow. Yeah, I'm going to pursue God. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. But ultimately, it's about something bigger. I'm here to serve. Every single thing that we do, guys, is about something bigger than just us. It's about serving. And serving is about giving, not giving. Serving is done genuinely when it's done joyfully. And serving others is how you spread the light. And I want you guys to take ownership in that. So right now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to ask everyone to go ahead and bow their heads and close their eyes. And I'm going to say 2 prayers tonight. In this first prayer, I want every single person in here to receive. This first prayer is that God helps you let your light shine. That he gives you a heart and a passion to serve others. That he gives you opportunity to serve. That he shows you what it means to serve people on a daily basis. And that you guys take ownership in it. That you do it. That you let your light shine. The second prayer that I'm going to say is for you to receive the light. If you're in here and you don't have Jesus in your heart, I'm sorry to say you don't have the light in you. But it's available to you. You don't have to jump through any hoops to get it. You don't have to. You just have to receive it. And that's the second prayer I'm going to say. So first of all, guys, I just want you to receive this prayer. If you're comfortable, I want you to actually just to open up your hands in your lap right there and receive this prayer. If you're watching online, I challenge you to even do the same thing at home. Just open up your hands and receive this prayer. I want to pray for God to use you. I want to pray for God to open up the doors for you to serve others, for you to focus on giving, not getting, for you to serve joyfully, and for you to set an example by the way you love others. Dear God, right now I lift up every single person in this room. And they're receiving you, God, and they're ready. And God, right now I lift them up to you. I bless them. I anoint them. I pray that you, God, use them to make a difference. God, right now I pray that you open up a door for them to serve. I pray that you open up the door for them to bless. I pray that you show them how to serve, to serve by giving and not getting, not to ask what's in it for me, but to say, how can I help you? And then to serve joyfully, God, not to whine and not to complain and not to grumble, as you say in 1 Peter, but to be joyful and to be excited. Because when we do that, God, it's a blessing to the people around us. And finally, God, I pray that as we do it, we set an example. That you are shining that light to others. That in this dark, dark world that we live in, people get a glimpse of hope because of the way that they serve and treat people. I pray for that over HSM tonight, God. And I pray that we become bold in that calling that you've given us. We lift you up tonight, God. And right now, with no one looking around, I want to stay in this attitude of prayer right now. No one's looking around. I want to invite you to receive that light. Because I want you to understand that we're here for something bigger than ourselves. And as long as you live separate from this light, you are missing out. The love of God gives you purpose. It gives you meaning. It gives you joy. It gives you hope. It's the light in the darkness, and it's available to you, and I want you to receive it tonight. But first, I want to see real quick who I'm praying with. I want to see if you're ready to receive this. I'm not going to shout you out. I'm not going to call you up front. Right now, I just want to know who I'm praying with so I can be intentional in praying with you. If you're ready to receive Jesus tonight, if you're ready to give your life to Christ, if you need this light inside of you, if you're ready for a deeper meaning, I want you to say this prayer with me. And real quick, will you just show me who's praying with me? Will you raise your hand? Just slip it up. Thank you. I see you guys all over right here. Yep, I got you guys right there, right there. I see you. I got you too back there. I got you. Thank you, thank you. Yep, see you right there. I see you guys. I got you. Yep. I got you guys. You can go ahead and put it down. Thank you. All over this room. I got you. You can put it down. If you raise your hand, I want you to say this prayer with me. You're not saying it to me. It's not a magic password to get you into heaven. You're saying this prayer to the living King, the King who came to serve, not to be served. Say this prayer with me. Say, Jesus, I need you. Thank you for serving me. Thank you for saving me. Right now, I give my life to you. I say yes to you. Come into my heart. Forgive me for my sins. I need you. Give me a purpose. Give me a deeper meaning. Help me to serve others and help me to serve you. I love you, God. In your name that I pray. Amen. Amen. Hey, can we give it up for anyone who said that prayer tonight? A lot of hands raised. A lot of hands raised tonight. And that's awesome. That's amazing. It's the best decision you'll ever make. And what I challenge you guys to do with this is don't let that be a thing that you just raise your hand, say a prayer, and then move on. Take that with you. You have the light of Jesus living inside of you. Use it to serve and to bless those around you and to praise the living King, because that's why we're here. We're not here for ourselves. We are here to serve. And guys, right now in just a second, we're going to go back into 2 songs of worship. And during this time of worship, I want you to praise Jesus because he came to serve you. He had all the right to come to this world to rule and to punish and to reign, but he came not to be served, but to serve. And guys, that's something to be thankful for. We did not deserve that. There's nothing we could do to earn it. So as we get up and we come up front to worship God, I want us to give it every single thing we've got because he is worthy of our praise and so much more because he came to serve us. Guys, let's stand, let's come up front, and let's worship God tonight.
Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Resurrection power runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man rock again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elijah if there's anything that he can't do. Just ask the I've got a song in my soul, and it's skipping my step. A chorus is ringing, it's pouring out again. I look to the sky, shout from the mountains, the highway of faith. 1, 2, 3, 4, love. My heart you rescued my soul. Sweet God, you covered my past and gave me the future, love. My heart forever gives to you, love. You rescued my soul, risen Redeemer, God. My heart forever. Are you in church with all you got tonight? Here we go. I've got a song in my soul, and it's skipping my step. Chorus is ringing, pouring out. I look to the sky, shout from the mountain. The highway of praise is still in the room. Lift our voices tonight. Amen, amen.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Are y'all cool? Are y'all good? Are y'all in a hurry? Y'all in a hurry? Let me tell you something. How old are our seniors in here? Like 18, 19? 18? 18, 17, 18? Okay. I was in a room on Friday night with some people my age, close to my age, probably 19 being the youngest. There might have been some 30-year-olds in the room. I don't know, but we got some old people in there. And let me tell you, I got some bad knees. I've been through a lot. I'm only 25, but you'd be surprised. But they sang that song on Friday. I mean, went insanely crazy, right? Most of you guys were there. It was insane. I know we're used to really only jumping and going crazy for parade because they give us a cue and they tell us to get down and get up, all this stuff. But one of the things I love about that, I love that line that says, I got a skip in my step. I've got a song in my heart and a skip in my step. I believe that's a line that our boy John Allen wrote. Am I correct in saying that?
Song of my soul.
Song of my soul and a skip. See, he knows it because he wrote it. And I love that because when we got a joy of the Lord living inside of us and that light that we talked about tonight, it gets us so excited that we get a little giddy, we get a little pumped up, and we can't help sit still. And what I would love for us to see tonight is for us to show CYA how it's done. They think it's cool. They don't know. They've forgotten. They're in college. They're out of college. They think they're cool. This is high school ministry, and this is where we do it crazy. So we're going to do the same song again. Same song. Whole song. From the start. Hey, we're doing the same exact song, start to finish. Because guess what? Hey, no lie, they sang it twice on Friday night, start to finish. We're going to sing it, and we're going to do what John Allen told us to do on Friday, and we're going to do it even crazier tonight. What'd you say? The moment that track starts, what'd you say on Friday? The moment the track starts, don't even wait for the song to come in. The moment the track starts, go crazy, get hyped, start jumping. He's gonna lead us from up here. They got the energy. We're gonna show Sia how it's done. You ready? From the top? Let's get it, baby. Get excited tonight. Come on.
All right, church, you ready? Let's go. Hey. We give our God praise tonight. Lift your voices. Hey. My posture is praise, my language is blessing.
Let me tell you something. That was amazing. I loved it. Anyone else love that? Oh, man, that was so much fun. Hey, real quick, before we go to life groups, 2 weeks from now, September 21st, Tuesday night, we're going to have our Serve Night event. If you weren't here last week, here's what we're doing. We're bringing you guys an opportunity to serve. We're going to build over 600 homeless kits, hygiene kits, snack kits, all that stuff. We're going to build that together, and we're going to be able to serve 600 homeless people in our county and even in Orange County over there, okay? It's going to be insane. You're not going to want to miss it. That's 2 weeks from now. Next week, we're going to close out our series. Going to be crazy. I'm out of breath, but I love it so much. Okay, so do not miss September 21st. Do not miss next week. I can't wait to see you guys. Join online. Loved having you tonight. Right now, guys, go to life groups. Freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior girls. Freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior boys. I'll see you guys next week at HSN.